Good afternoon. Welcome back to more from day one. You probably have just recently finished the part A for today that we had some technical difficulties. So here's some bonus content we did not get to do due to that. I also did have to dig up another court case to cover. And we have it with Judge Simpson giving us some fun in traffic court. Judge Simpson, please take it away.
State of Michigan versus Grant Montgomery.
Caitlin Kirby on behalf of the people.
Grant Montgomery?
He is present. I think he's trying to unmute, Your Honor.
I hear you. Okay. All right.
He's here, Your Honor.
You're on two devices.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I just need one device, or the other one turned down. That's fine. That's fine. I'll stick with the devices. All right. They just got off of the one device. The video left, but the other audio. Okay. Now they're on one device. Okay. All right. What are we doing in this case?
I am disputing a illegal passing ticket.
I don't know if he's asking to have a formal hearing. My trooper is here, so we can hold it if that's what he would like. I was not aware.
Your Honor, Trooper Smith here. I'd be willing to offer impeding traffic to forego the formal hearing.
Okay. All right. Is that what you want to do, young man?
No, Your Honor.
No?
Yes, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. He does not want to plead down.
Who are you?
I'm his stepfather. I'm sorry.
Okay. Illegal passing is how many points? 2?
Your Honor.
What?
Really? We got a stepfather in this one? Oh, God, this is going to be fun.
I believe so, yes.
Okay, do you understand that an impeding is a non-reportable, no-point offense? Is what the trooper's offering?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you don't want to do that?
No, Your Honor.
So you want to be an idiot.
Right. Let me see. I'm going to pass this matter. And then I will try to clear some stuff out. We'll have the hearing if that's what they want.
Trooper Smith, if you could remain on the call, then please. Thank you.
So you do understand that so that you're aware. And what's the plan on that? So the impeding is 180, no points. That's what the trooper's offer. What you're charged with is actually 3 points and $140.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm aware of that.
Okay, well, thank you for your knowledge. I am pointing that out to you so maybe you can factor that into your decision. Thank you.
I'd be asking for an adjournment to June 1st so that I can obtain a discovery and hopefully enter into the appropriate negotiations with.
What, the 1st or the 8th?
Discovery?
Your Honor,
This is traffic.
I would prefer the 1st, quite honestly.
All right, that's fine. June 1st, 2022, 9 a.m. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor. And if you wanted me to speak with Mr. Montgomery, was it Montgomery, about the impeding?
Sometimes people just, whatever. So
Your Honor,
Sometimes they're just dumb.
I've done, I've handled about 3,000 or 4,000 truck driver tickets, so I know.
I can only lead a horse to water.
My respect is due.
Thank you, Your Honor. 14A District Court is back in session. The court does recall the case of People versus Grant Montgomery.
Kate will prove on behalf of the people.
State your name, please.
Grant Montgomery.
All right. This is formal hearing on a civil infraction of an improper passing citation. All right, you may proceed, Ms. Gregory.
And the people would call Trooper to the stand.
Oh, we're actually going to do it.
Can you please unmute and turn on your camera?
Yep, I'm unmuted. Just give me 1 second for the camera.
All right.
Hello, sir. Trooper Smith, you're up on behalf of the state.
All right. You raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Kirby, you may proceed.
Thank you. Trooper Smith, do you recall April 18th, 2022?
I do.
And do you recall where you were at approximately 8:39 p.m.?
Yes, ma'am. I was on patrol, Washtenaw County, Augusta Township,
Okay, and how are you employed?
through the Michigan State Police as a trooper.
And were you working that day?
I was.
And in what capacity?
As a law enforcement officer, a state police trooper, ma'am.
And during that day, did you stop anyone around the time of 8 o'clock?
I did. I stopped one, Grant Douglas Montgomery, approximately 8:30 p.m.
And do you see Mr. Montgomery on the Zoom screen?
I did.
And can you identify what he's wearing, please?
He's wearing a gray button-up shirt.
Let the record reflect that this witness has identified the defendant.
Without objection, record shall so reflect.
And what was the reason that you pulled over Mr. Montgomery?
Well, Washtenaw County Dispatch advised they'd received multiple 911 calls about two vehicles drag racing down Rossville Road, one being a gray Chevrolet HHR. So they advised that the gray Chevy HHR pulled into the Rossville and Willis BP station, and I happened to be in the area, so I told them I would look for the car, and I ended up finding the vehicle inside the BP station. Once the vehicle left the BP station, I initiated and turned southbound on Rossville Road. I initiated a traffic stop and made contact with Mr. Montgomery.
And why did you initiate the traffic stop?
Just due to the multiple 911 calls reporting drag racing in the area. It's a 2-lane road. It's fairly busy. Just wanted to stop and have a conversation with him about his driving and what was going on that evening.
And what road did you stop him on?
It was on Rossville Road, but I believe he turned onto Judd Road, if I'm not mistaken, to pull off Rossville to be safer.
And after speaking with Mr. Montgomery, did he make any statements admitting that he had admitting anything?
He did. While I was speaking with him, Mr. Montgomery advised that he was traveling southbound on Rossville Road and came to a stoplight at Bemis Road. And he advised the car in front of him was moving fairly slow, so he utilized the left-hand turn lane to pass that vehicle, which is a double yellow line if you're headed southbound on Rossville Road.
So you're allowed to use that lane as a passing lane?
You are not allowed to use that lane as a passing lane.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Montgomery, do you have any questions of the trooper?
No, Your Honor. Yes.
So what is
May
it?
I speak for my son?
Who's this?
No, you can't.
Okay.
You're not. Yeah, okay. Your son has no questions. What questions do you have, sir?
The officer wrote him a ticket for a civil infraction that he did not witness, and according to 257742 of Michigan compiled laws, he has to witness a civil infraction unless there's an accident involved. We have video showing that the officer actually pulled him over about 15 minutes after he did pass somebody. We were advised to set up a formal hearing under the advice of my father, who is a retired detective, and we were under the understanding that we'd have the opportunity to speak with the prosecutor before going in front of a judge.
Well, what do you want to? Do you want to talk to the prosecutor?
I would have loved to talk.
Well, the problem is that how old is your son?
17.
All right. Why didn't your son ask to speak to the prosecutor?
Whenever he's in front of authority, he gets very nervous. I can't speak for him as far as that goes, but this isn't the first time. Whenever he's talking to an authority figure, he kind of breaks down and doesn't talk. I'm sorry, Your Honor?
And doesn't. Okay. Good. Here's part of the problem here. And I certainly will look at the section you want me to look at. But there's a bigger problem here. And maybe, sir, I'll ask you, did you have a conversation with your stepson about his activities that night?
Yes, Your Honor, absolutely.
And did that draw any concern for you?
Yes, Your Honor, it did, but not specifically for the driving. It was his language in front of the police officer that bothered me the most.
But not the driving? I mean,
Your
why
Honor,
he came into contact?
I don't know what he did that would have been illegal, Your Honor. I have no proof of what he did.
Did you listen to what Trooper testified to? What were the complaints that led the Trooper there in the first place?
Vroom, vroom.
I do not know. I know that the Trooper says that it was drag racing.
Ding, 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 ding.
Did you talk to your son about that?
Your Honor,
Absolutely not.
I'll beat my son about his driving.
Yeah, at first when the officer pulled me over, he said drag racing, which made me initially nervous. I was like, I wasn't doing that at all. I don't understand where that's coming from. That made me nervous for the rest of the conversation, which is why I fumbled on my words and not really remember what I said.
Your Honor, on our end, absolutely. I've had conversations with my son about this incident. He does have a dash cam in his car and a rear camera in his car. And at the end of every day, I'm reviewing those now going forward. That's what we are doing as far as making sure that he is driving appropriately and not causing any problems for anybody. If the officer got complaints about drag racing, he absolutely did the right thing by pulling him over, but it's my understanding he cannot write a ticket for civil infraction that he did not witness. Unless there's an accident involved.
Your Honor, Trooper Smith here, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please, Trooper.
We received multiple calls, as I stated, about the two vehicles drag racing, and specifically the vehicle that Mr. Montgomery was operating at that time. Drag racing is a misdemeanor offense, as we all know. So I was trying to give him a break and simply cite him for the civil infraction for the improper passing, to which he himself admitted to on scene.
Oh, I know what you were doing. I just am finding it amazing that a father doesn't see what you're doing.
That the father is an idiot.
What the officer's doing, Your Honor. I do. I appreciate that.
You understand, sir, though, that he could have written, based upon the complaint, a misdemeanor citation for drag racing. Then,
Your Honor, it's my understanding that he could not.
Yes, he could. He absolutely could have found that. I deal with misdemeanors for 20-some odd years. You're going to tell me he can't. I'm going to tell you right now, he could have. He could have requested charges for a misdemeanor offense. Then the thing is that they go out and get the witnesses of the people that were complaining, which the officer was investigating.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then, so it's amazing to me because the cold-hearted reality of it is that then what ends up occurring is the trooper goes, and instead of doing that, because you wouldn't have to, if he got a drag racing ticket, you wouldn't have to worry about him driving for a long time.
Forever.
So instead of the trooper doing that, he has a conversation with your son, realizes something is going on there, gives him a break, writes him the ticket. I understood exactly what the trooper was doing. Sometimes with young people, whether they get nervous or not, you have to get their attention.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's what the problem is here. Because if they can go back and get the witnesses, and they still may be able to, fine, you win this one, and then he gets on a drag race. Then what are you going to do? I mean, really, what are you going to do?
I hear what you're saying, Your Honor.
No, you're not. Because you wouldn't be still doing this if you did.
So then, just to finish that thought,
Please,
he's here
Cedric.
today, and the trooper is then willing to even just lower it so it's no points, because the objective, in some respects, one would think, has been served. That is, Grant Montgomery, I got your attention. That operating a motor vehicle out there is a huge responsibility. That in the flash of doing something stupid, people are dead.
Yes, Your Honor.
So I don't know what you want to do. I will give you an opportunity to speak with the prosecutor if you want to speak with the prosecutor. But when the trooper got here and said that they give the impeding, because he's not trying to sink your son, the cold-hearted reality is, and if you ever sat and talked with some of these troopers that are out there now, all they want, more than anything in the world, is that given any night, and you know how 17-year-olds are, I've raised two of them myself, all he wants is to get your son's attention so that there isn't a day he doesn't come home.
Absolutely.
And maybe that's the perspective this should have been looked at.
Yes, Your Honor.
So now tell me what you want to do, because we can continue with the hearing. If you want to speak with the prosecutor, we'll put you into a breakout room. You can talk with Miss Kirby and the trooper outside of my presence, and then decide what you want to do.
I would appreciate that if that's okay, Your Honor.
Miss Kirby, do you have any? I realize we're in the middle of the hearing. Do you have any objection with the trooper? You guys all go into a breakout room and speak.
No, Your Honor, but I would appreciate if Trooper Smith could be present as well.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. That Trooper Smith would go in. I mean, you know something, sir?
Yes, sir.
And I'll just say this. Maybe, because I mean, I guess these days we look at sometimes what police officers do and a lot of the bad things that happen and whatever. And myself having raised kids, you know, even my daughter's now 24. When she pulls out of that driveway, you're going to worry the rest of your life.
I understand, Your Honor. And like I said, my dad is a retired police officer, and he's the one who gave us this advice. So I grew up with a father who was a police officer as well, and I do understand where you're coming from, and I understand what it feels like every time he pulls out of the driveway. And I got 3 more coming up behind him who are teenagers.
Yeah.
So.
And you know what? With those 3 that are coming up behind him, here's the thing that you really need to think about. What you're going to want is you're going to want a trooper out there like Trooper Smith, that when something like that happens, he maybe just takes a moment, doesn't try to hammer them, but gets their attention.
Yes, sir.
Because that's the thing that's going to bring them back. And can you put Trooper Smith, Kirby, and Montgomery's in the breakout place? All right, everybody's back.
Yes, Your Honor. After a brief conversation, Trooper Smith is much more gracious than I and is allowing a lead to impeding traffic.
Okay. All right.
So I will agree with that decision, given the fact that Trooper Smith is the one that had to sit on here extra time, and he is also the one that decided to reduce it in the first place. So I agree with that, and I respect that choice.
Grant Montgomery matter. So Montgomery, do you admit responsibility to the fact that on April 18, 2022, location of Rossville Road in Augusta Township, Washington County, State of Michigan, that you did operate a motor vehicle in the fashion in which you impeded traffic?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will accept that admission of responsibility.
Oh my god, call security. We actually got a thing.
Anything you or your stepdad want to say before I impose fines and costs?
I want to say thank you to the court and to the officer.
Wow.
Fines and costs of $180. When can that be paid? Yeah, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Young man, are you working? Young man, are you working?
I am working currently, yes.
Because I don't want stepdad's money. I want yours.
Yes.
So when are you going to pay it?
Within a week, sir.
Get it paid by May 31st.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And young man, do me a favor. Like I said, I'm a dad, so I don't know what you said to the trooper. Doesn't really matter to me. But realize that 17, you don't necessarily get it. You probably don't get it until you have little ones that look like you running around. So until you become a dad, you're not going to get it. That every time you step out of their sight, it's just pure worry. If my gut tells me you're probably doing something you weren't supposed to, that's okay. You're 17. You do that kind of stuff. But also consider it a blessing sometimes that you get stopped in the middle of that. Because if you spend a day in this court or a week in this court, see a lot of families in pain because their kid doesn't come back. Bad things can happen. I realize you're 17. You believe that you're invincible. But believe me, the world can take you out in a second.
I understand that.
Okay. So do me a favor, drive safe. I plan on hearing these cases in Washington County for a long while to go. So problem is that when you come to somebody's attention, I'll remember you. It could be 10 years from now, I'll remember you. I'll say, you're that little 17-year-old that's doing it, okay? See? So now you're on my radar. All right.
All right. Well, thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate that.
All right. You guys take care. All right. Keep safe. Thank you. Ms. Kirby, thank you. Trooper, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
14A, fine. Stands adjourned.
Alrighty, I did not expect to need extra content, so weird. We're actually going to have to go to a Judge Judy hyper case to get us through the rest as we head down to the dungeon. Alrighty, so with that, here we go. Nope, sorry. I was going to the wrong page. Oh, I lost it.
State of Michigan.
Let's see if I can find it again real quick. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. Take just a quick few seconds here. If we can't, then we won't. Alright. Just listen a little unedited to Courtroom 3B over in Middleton. I have not listened ahead for any of these or anything, so I don't know what is or isn't coming.
Are you ready there, Luke? Yes, sir. Waters is here. There's a group thing, so they're all common backgrounds. Everybody likes insurance. Are you ready for us, John?
This is why it's so much better when we do listen ahead, because we can edit out all these dead air times in a courtroom's proceedings.
All right. We're on to our next case. It is 11. All right. This is entitled People versus Matthew Ray McWatters. Good morning, Mr. McWatters. Mr. McWatters is here with his attorney, Mr. Knopfinger. Also present is Deborah Davis from the Prosecuting Attorney's Office and Dan Friesine, who prepared the excellent pre-sentence report. This is a case of operating a motor vehicle resulting in a serious impairment of a body function. This is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine. It does carry 6 points and requires license to be suspended. Mr. McWatters accepted responsibility for this. The matter was set for sentencing here this morning. Let's start with you, Luke. What would you like me to do?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a couple of things. These are cases that are delicate because one decision or lack of action on the road that in and of itself may not be, maybe honestly something that we do day in and day out. But these are difficult because that action or inaction leads to, has a terrible effect on someone else who just being in the wrong place at the wrong time suffers the brunt. So what happened here, Your Honor, is Mr. McWatters and I have gone more in depth about the construction work there on Lutz, and there were several trucks that are working. What he believes happened reviewed the PSI. We are accepting of its recommendations. Mr. McWaters wants to address the board. I did want to share a couple other things with the court. Mr. McWaters, has been at the probation center. He's set to be released at the end of the month. I think this has had a profound effect on him. He's been, tells me he's never going to run a stop sign again. In fact, he stops when there are even stop signs in the road. I think it's shaking him. What he plans to do, his future plans, is actually to go to a training to work on Harley motorcycles in Ohio. He wants to continue that. It's a passion that he and his family members share. He is set to be released, like I mentioned, at the end of the month. I know that this happened some time ago. It's fortunate that the restitution, a majority of which have been covered by the insurance company. I understand there is no request from the insurance company, but we've talked about that possibility that one may come in the future. So with that, Your Honor, we're agreeable to the recommendations. Thank you.
Deborah, there's really not much else to say. Do we have any victim input here? I read Ms. Gurdon's victim impact statement, which is pretty telling.
I don't believe that she sent an updated one. Let me just double check. I didn't know if she was going to attend or not today. I don't see an updated victim impact statement. So, I mean, with that, the PSI was very in-depth, which is always nice to have that rest of the story, as they say. And it does somewhat explain the frustration that I had and the victim had with, why didn't this person come check on me? You know, you smashed into my car and you're more worried about your own vehicle. Looking at what Mr. McWaters has had in his life and the way things transpired in his youth, I guess that it's that selfish needing to take care of yourself when you are young and your parent just kind of abandons you. But I hope that this was, in fact, a very strong learning experience for him. He's lucky that both of them are still alive today. With the speed that they were going and the lack of proof that he rolled the stop sign, I mean, with the skid marks and the way that it was, it appeared that he probably barely slowed down for the stop sign. And wrong place, wrong time. And, you know, maybe 9 times out of 10, he would have flown through that with no problems. But when you're operating a piece of machinery that can kill people and kill you, you have to use that caution. You know, that's a very dangerous stretch of road. Lutz Road has a lot of accidents. People go way too fast down that road, and a lot of them are not 4-way stops. They're just a 2-way, which is, it just creates a dangerous situation when somebody drives like he did. That being said, you know, he served 93 days in custody, not necessarily directly as a result of this, but for his other case, but he does get credit for that, as I understand. I don't believe that there's any restitution that has been requested. The insurance company paid for everything thus far, but with restitution it can remain open in case the insurance company comes and wants to be reimbursed. So with that, I leave it to the court deciding what to do. Thank you.
Daniel, anything you wish to add to your PSI?
Yeah, just one thing that we really didn't get emphasized yet this morning was I had to go to the Twin Counties for another person. I actually had 3 people there, and I spoke to the gentleman, I forget his name, was doing the MRT, and he had a lot of accolades for him. And he did get promoted as I was there like the day before or something like that to step 11, which is the second to last step. It goes through step 12. Nice thing about the MRT is you really can't fake it there. You just won't graduate. You really have to do the work. And he said he's been really doing some good work. And I think his driving is kind of like, a lot of youth think they're immortal. And I think this is a real wake-up call. Obviously, he saw a more mortality type of position going on when he hit that vehicle. And I do think that his shakenness, his concern is genuine. When I spoke to him, we had a very good conversation. And I didn't pull a whole lot of punches on where I was coming from, and he owned it. And I think between the MRT and this, I really have a lot of hope for him going forward.
My sense, I had a positive impression when he took the plea. Matthew, that you're doing as well right now as you've done in a long time. Your head's in the right place. You're working at Aquatic. I gave you a stroke when we said we needed to get you in here for court. You thought you had missed it. You came right home from work and got there. You got a lot of baggage on your criminal record, but that's sort of irrelevant to this. This is carelessness with a serious injury that nearly killed someone. So it wasn't criminal conduct necessarily. This is there, but for the grace of God, go the rest of us. And I don't know if you just rolled through the stop sign or blew through it, but the violation is running a stop sign, and then this person was seriously injured. My injuries were broken sternum, broken ribs, cracked pelvis, concussion with bleeding of the brain. I spent a night in neurointensive care. During the time I am dealing with other medical issues, this accident compounded the difficulties of my everyday life and my husband's. So there was a substantial personal impact to her. She had a nice Ford truck, and the insurance company paid her almost $40,000 for her totaled truck. So the insurance company's out $40,000. I'm not sure if they're going to come after you or not. But the law says the maximum sentence is 93 days. You've been in jail for, I don't know, 150 or something at this point. You're due to get out of Twin Counties later this month. But I was impressed by your owning this. And you didn't leave the scene. You sat there watching them cut this lady out of the truck. There's a lesson to be learned in that. What else do you want to tell me? Anything else you think I should know? You got this job at Aquatic, which is a pretty decent job. You would leave that to go to motorcycle repair school?
Yeah, heartbeat.
All right, but do you have a plan for that, or is that just something you'd like to do in the future?
It's a plan I'd like to do in the future. I've been waiting to get off the roll to do that.
When is your parole in?
Parole is due to end a few days after.
Well, Judge Stutzman took a chance on you. Rather than send you back to prison, I guess maybe him or the parole board sent you to Twin Counties. As I said, I think your head's in a good spot. Of course, not the least of which is you've been clean for 180 days or so. There's no indication that drugs were a factor in this. If there is, it was never brought to my attention. But I can't do any more than Daniel recommends. Jail. This was a no contest. Yes, it was because of some liability. It is impairment of the bodily function. We had an accident this weekend where a man was alleged to be intoxicated that caused some very serious injuries to some people. We're not sure they're going to make it. If you've been intoxicated, that's a 5-year felony. If you're not, it's just serious injury, which makes it a mistake. Order 93 days jail, credit 93 days jail. That's all I can order. There's zero fine. There's a $75 crime victims' rights fee, a $50 state minimum fee, and a $150 attorney fee. That's $275. Serve on restitution. It's not likely that the insurance company is going to ask me for restitution, but they may be filing a lawsuit against you. Well, they can sue you for something called subrogation. They paid out a $40,000 claim, and their contention will be that you caused the accident that resulted in that claim. So they paid their insurer. They're insured, and they may sue you for that money. I don't.
So why did the insurance company take all those premium? Well, anyway, all right, I take issue with it, but I guess that's
yeah, I don't think. I thought I had some bond money in here. Daniel, did you find any? I guess it's a PR bond. There's no bond money. So I think there's not. All right, I'm gonna make that due by August 15th. Get out of jail here at the end of the month. That'll give you time to pay this. Like I said, I think you're doing as good as you've done in quite some time. Hope you can keep it going when you get out. The world needs motorcycle mechanics.
Well, with that, we will leave Judge Simpson. Sorry, not Judge Simpson, but Judge Middleton. And that will bring us to the end of the bonus episode. Be back for more Frauditors, Auditors, Stop Sits in the evening, and of course, Art Bell in the overnight. Until then, like, share, and subscribe, be kind to one another, and release the Krakens. As we march along this afternoon and every afternoon here from day one.